tune about a life so free. Every moment's bright, come and dance with me. Woke up this morning with a cup of cheer. Thought of old memories that I hold near. Writing my blog, it's a wild display. Brandon Elrich is so gay.
Hello, everyone. This is Brandon Elrich with Brandon Elrich is So Gay. This is episode 30 of season 1, and I thought I'd tell you about my week a little bit. This past week, I did my first live cooking episode, baking episode, whatever you want to call it. I baked some banana cinnamon scones. I've made these several times before, but they were very good. And anyway, if you'd want to see that, it's on my Substack, and I think I've got it on YouTube and podcasts. Actually, I might convert that to an audio podcast. Just upload the audio, because you can listen to my instructions and everything. I list out the ingredients and tell you how much is in it and everything. So I think it would work well as an audio podcast. So I may download that as a kind of a bonus one or something. So I'm kind of gearing up to go on a trip. I'm driving halfway across the country, basically, to Maine. It's going to be like close to somewhere around 24 hours, but I'm also going to stop at Niagara Falls on my way because it's not far off of my route anyway. I've never been to Niagara Falls, never been to New York State at all. I've never been to Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine. So I will get to check all of those off my list. I would imagine that a lot of people probably kind of hope to visit every state, those of us who live in the United States, and maybe those with on the outside. So anyway, that is kind of I think it would be a cool check mark, a cool goal to have, to visit all the United States. Now, Hawaii and Alaska might be a little difficult. I've got a couple family members in Alaska, so it's not out of the question. And Hawaii, I would love to go to Hawaii, but I've always heard how terribly expensive it is. So, as it stands right now, I am not going to be able to afford it. Speaking of which, if you would like to become a paid subscriber, if you enjoy this content and you want to hear more of it and support me, I would love for you to become a paid subscriber for $60 for an entire year. $60. You can do $6 a month too, but the $60 saves you money. So if you can afford that, that would be awesome. So where was I? I was saying something about money, which brought up the paid subscriber thing. Shoot, I can't remember. Going across the country to Maine, I don't know what that had to do with money though. Man. So I took it. I had a chocolate earlier. So I think that is preventing my brain from functioning the way it should. Anyway, I'm going to Maine and I'm stopping at Niagara Falls. If you have any suggestions for other places for me to stop from Missouri to Maine, you can put them in the comments. I would be glad to get a suggestion. Somebody told me something about a museum in Vermont. I'm going to have to go back and look, see where that was. If I don't write things down, I just completely forget them. I think there are a couple famous writers or something that are from Vermont, Anyway, well, I'm going to a place along the coast, and it's kind of I don't know if we would call it a writer's retreat. I don't know if we're going to do any writing there, but the reason we all know each other is through our writing. We all started out on, well, we we were on Medium. I don't That's not where I started, and I don't know if other people started other places, but I started out on WordPress and then went to Medium, and that's where I met all of these writers. And now we all write on Substack, some more than others. Some are still on Medium a lot, but we all do have a Substack. So it's going to be really cool. I don't think any of us have met in person. There might have been a couple of them that have, but most of us have never met. We've got somebody from Canada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, of course, Missouri, me, and I'm not sure where a couple of the others are from. So I guess I'll find out after I get there. I'm, yeah, like I said, I think I said I'm driving. Yeah, yes, because it's gonna be a really long trip. I'm probably just gonna stop at a rest stop and take naps along the way because I really don't want to have to pay for a hotel. It's just more money. Um, so hopefully I'll talk to on the phone to a few people on the way there, and maybe that will help keep me alert. And I'll bring snacks and coffee and whatever, soda and stuff. But yeah, I should see a lot of things I haven't seen before, and it'll be a cool drive. I kind of wish somebody was going with me though, but we can't have everything we want, can we? I thought about advertising it on advertising it on Grinder, putting it on my profile, saying, "Hey, I'm taking a trip. Anybody want to ride?" But I don't know. That's also that also can be risky because in the way that not I don't know about violence. I wasn't thinking that, but more like you're stuck with this person. You've never hardly talked to them before, and you're gonna be stuck with them for 24 hours and just in the car. I don't know. That's like, oh, what if it's somebody really annoying, or they just want to put in their headphones and or look at their device the whole time? That would be kind of pointless. My purpose is to talk to somebody and, ah, you know, keep me awake and not completely bored. Make 24 hours seem like 10 days. For some reason, my cat Zach is just going after something. I don't know if it's just him just playing or if there's an actual, like a bug, a mosquito or something. He sometimes does that. He'll go after little bugs that I can't necessarily see. He's gotten a couple flies before. Oh, he's so silly. He's 7 years old. He just turned 7 in June, and he's still pretty playful. He loves to play with toys. If I'm, playing with him, he doesn't necessarily like the independent toys. He wants me to move stuff around and have him chase it and stuff. But Zoe is 8 years old, and she does not play with toys. She goes out and hunts. So I kind of think that once she learned well, no, Zach has played with real mice before. He's seen a couple. Actually, he caught one himself once, but um, it's usually Zoe that catches them, and then he'll go kind of try to get in on the fun and kind of claim the prize, maybe. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, Zoe. So she hunts a lot, and I think she prefers the live prey rather than the toys. She knows the toys aren't real. You can tell by the way she just pretty much ignores them. But Zach, I mean, he knows they're not real too, but he enjoys the chase. He enjoys playing, and I should do it more, really. But um, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. Getting down on the floor and keeping him occupied with the string and stuff. So anyway, that's one thing I'm gonna have to deal with, being away from them for several days. But it'll be kind of nice though to have the break, because that can be a little annoying. And since I work from home, I'm just here all the time with them. They're very accustomed to me being around, and I'm accustomed to having them around. So leaving them for that many days, it'll be a little odd. I can kind of imagine how a parent might feel leaving their kid if they go on a trip without them. But I'm having someone staying here with them, and I think they'll be fine. They're not used to too many strangers. Zoe's pretty adaptable, but I think Zach will be fine. Anyway, you don't need to know about all that. But I am going to meet some writers. We might do a podcast together. Maybe we might do a live video. I would hope so. I think it would be cool. But it'll be really interesting. We've seen each other on Zoom. We meet every week and help each other out with writing and recommendations about publishing and that kind of thing. And of course, we always end up talking about completely random subjects that don't have anything to do with writing. But that's sometimes okay, as long as it's doesn't go too crazy, which it has sometimes. Anyway, we've seen each other through Zoom, but it's a lot different when you actually meet in person. I feel like I have a little bit of a different kind of personality in person than I do on video. I don't know. I guess I can't be objective when I'm judging myself. But where was I going? Oh, here goes my brain in a bit of a fog again. Oh, I don't know where I was going with all of this. I don't even remember what we were talking about. So I've been telling you about my week going on the writers group. Oh yeah, that's where we were, wasn't it? And and of course I'm going to take some live videos on my way. I'm sure I'll definitely take one at Niagara Falls, and if I go to a museum maybe, or somewhere cool, or someplace that one of you might suggest for me. So anyway, I think I say anyway a lot. I'll try to change that. So I'm going to post I think I'm gonna try to post the audio version to a podcast, and I'll call it like a bonus one. I think on Apple Podcasts that might be like categories that they show: full episode or trailer or bonus. I've never done a trailer, but I could do that. Oh, I've been also thinking about trying to get a sponsor, possibly. I don't know if any of you listeners are the owner of a business who kind of aligns with me, my brand, my views, and you would like to sponsor me. I would be happy to mention your business during the podcast. We can talk about how long, maybe, I don't know, a 15-second ad or something like that. Whatever. And of course, in exchange, you subscribe to, you be like a founding member of my publication. The founding member subscription is it 200, something like that, for the year. And so that person would have more say so over how my publication is run and that kind of thing. And of course, you would have the opportunity to be to have an advertisement read during the podcast. Anyway, oh, there's that word again. I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, well, I was going to talk about gay movies and shows. So I watched this one show. I looked at it online to ask what the most popular queer movies were, and the one that came up was Heartstopper. So I started watching that, and I didn't read much about it, but then I realized once I get into it and watch the first few episodes, it's all about these high school kids in the UK, and it's focused on a group of queer kids, and they're all very diverse. There's a trans girl, a couple of gay guys, a couple of gay girls, lesbians, or a couple, um, or there's one kid that he believes that he's asexual, and of course one is out, one's still in the closet, and you see him coming out. So they're all in various stages, and it's very unrealistic as far as that scenario ever occurring in real life. You wouldn't have that concentration of diversity in a relatively small public school. But the situations that they're each involved in are very relatable, and it makes me kind of makes me sad. I cried a lot in that show because there's some mention of self harm and that kind of thing, and I can relate to some of that. But I'm also so sad that I wasn't able to come out when I was younger. I see these kids doing it at school now, and I and having supportive parents and that kind of thing. And of course, I don't. So it was kind of bittersweet. I love seeing it, and I hope those kinds of things are happening for other people. But I I'm still kind of sad that it didn't happen for me growing up. But anyway, I would recommend that one, Heartstopper. It's very they're very good actors, these kids. So yeah, it's a good one to watch. Um, I'm in the middle of watching um, Coming Out Colton. So that one's about Colton Underwood, who is a professional football player, but he was also on The Bachelor. And I think he was on more than one season. He might have been a bachelor on The Bachelorette and then came back as a bachelor. I'm not sure, but he became known as the virgin bachelor because he said he'd never had sex. He ends up choosing a girl, a woman, and the show ends, and then they break up. I believe it was she that broke up. I think her name might have been Rachel. Anyway, she broke it off. He kind of broke down, and I think there was some kind of restraining order against him by her, and he went kind of nuts a little bit. But then later he came out as gay, so that explains the fact that he had never had sex and never committed to a woman because he kept having that pull toward being gay. And so this video is it's a documentary, and it shows him coming out to his mom and family members and friends and teammates and coaches. It's very emotional. Also, even though obviously I can't relate to a football player famous for being on TV and all that, but he grew up Catholic. I grew up in a Christian household, and it was very much expected that he was attracted to females. He was kind of it seemed as if the his father was trying to make his sons quote unquote men, you know, the masculine, the stereotypical tough guys, like to play sports, all that. And so I think that that partly prevented him from ever coming out. And of course, the locker rooms, there was all the homophobic jokes and the not racial, the gay slurs. It happened all the time in school, but especially in the locker rooms among athletes. So he had a really hard time with that, and of course, then being in the public eye on the NFL and on The Bachelor, that all made it even more difficult for him to come out. But I'm glad to see that he did, and he seems much happier. But I am tearing up a lot in watching this documentary about him coming out and being so accepted by his friends and family. I would recommend watching it. It's a good one. So those are the two shows that I can think of. Um, they're not especially new shows, but they're new to me. So I figured not everyone else has seen them either. You might want to watch them. A lot of the newer shows and movies I'm not able to see because they're not streaming yet, or they might be on a platform that I don't have. Most of the ones that are free and the ones that I can see are just a little bit older. There was one called Fireworks that was good. It was kind of a coming of age queer story, but it was based on a true story of a couple of boys in teenagers, I believe, in I'm not sure what country. I believe it was a Spanish speaking country. Anyway, that one was good, but it was also sad without giving away the ending. But I enjoyed it. I enjoy stories that are based on true stories, movies based on true stories. Oh, not long ago I watched the movie Looking, which was the kind of, I don't know if it was a wrap up or a kind of reunion of sorts after the show. There was a show called Looking. It was on for a few seasons, all focused around gay, queer characters, mostly men. And after the show ended, then they made a movie several years later. It was a good show. It was another one that had an eclectic blend, so you could probably, especially if you're in the queer community, you could identify with one of the characters. Well, that's all I can think of right now. I know there have been lots of other movies, but some of them are older, and I guess I could kind of review a few others, but not in this episode, at least. Anyway, I hope you've learned something, and look forward to my pictures, my notes, my pictures, my articles of my trip to Maine. I'll probably be writing about Niagara Falls and everything else that I'm going to be doing. If you haven't already, go to my Substack publication page, and you can subscribe not only to this audio podcast, but you can watch my live videos, and I've got articles if you prefer to read. You can subscribe, become a free subscriber or a paid subscriber. Most of my content is free, but I very humbly ask you to please support me if you enjoy it, if you are able to. I know some of us have budgets. I definitely have a budget. So the only reason I'm able to go on this trip to Maine is because the accommodations are paid for. So I still have to pay for gas on the way up there though. So it would really help me out if you could become a paid subscriber. $6 a month or just $60 for an entire year. I appreciate your support. I will say goodbye for this week. Hopefully, I'll have time to record a podcast for next week at some point when I'm on vacation. And that's all for this time. Say goodbye, Zach.